Do you want to be as unhinged as me? Would you like to unlock all creativity by finally taking on a hobby that you have resisted for at least 4 years? Then stay tuned, because I'm going to show you how much I've learned about making tumblers and mugs in 1 week. Come with me and you'll be in a world of unhinged sublimation. Sublimation has been one of those things that I've resisted for a very long time, because the perception that I had, much like lasers, was that the equipment was too big, it was going to take up a lot of space. I don't really have a whole lot of room, although it may seem like that. I'm claustrophobic, so I can kind of feel the walls caving in. Anywho, HTVRONT reached out and convinced me to give it a shot. So I bought myself a little sublimation printer, nothing too fancy, less than $500 from MakerFlow. It's an Epson F170, and it came with a ton of tumblers and paper and everything. I got this really cool bundle, and I was like, okay, that's not too bad. If I viewed it as an investment, I could probably make that back over time. So not a really big deal on the bottom line. Also, I've worked with HTVRONT in the past because they've sent me the auto heat press, which I have another video on. I'll put a little card up there. If you work with fabrics, or you do sublimation or HTV work with garments, then that's also really awesome. But they also have the Tumbler auto heat press. This little guy takes up maybe 11 inches wide, 12 to 13 deep. It's not huge. It's not like these giant ones that you see for hats and mugs, tumblers, etc., that have this whole jaws of life thing. And after the testing with the auto heat press here, I will never go back to anything that requires me to pry it open. Full disclosure, a lot of that has to do with how my body works post double mastectomy, where I can't really do a lot of work here or here because of how my muscles were cut. I don't even have a proper unboxing for you, because I actually live streamed the unboxing on my Twitch channel the week before, and basically just live learned how to do this with about 30 people watching me. It was a little unnerving. But we were able to make stuff like this nice little Dungeons and Dragons-esque tumbler. I really liked it, and again, I need to thank my friend Wolfshade for correcting me on which dice go on there, because I apparently doubled up on the wrong kind, and since I'm a noob at TTRPGs, I had no idea. Now, full disclosure, HTVRONT did send me the tumbler press. However, they did not pay me for the content of the video, so I can say whatever the heckadoodle I want. Also, this video isn't going to be like a full-blown I know everything about sublimation of tumblers and mugs tutorial. There are so many people who are much more experienced with it. So this is more of like a crafting vlog style to show you what I've learned and why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, while also demonstrating the benefits of having a press for tumblers that's automatic. So no more delays, let's get right into it. So we're gonna start first with my lessons learned in making unhinged tumblers. Let's go with the biblical clippy. So the first thing I want to do, of course, remove the top, and then I'm going to take an alcohol pad and make my room smell like a hospital. We're going to take that, and because oil from your skin, even if you feel like you're a clean person, you're not really. Oil from your skin will get all over these cups and tumblers, so you need to clean the surface to make sure that there isn't anything there that is going to interrupt the ability for the polymer to accept the ink. So I'm just going to wipe it down with this alcohol pad. All the way around, and then just set it here to let it dry while I trim the artwork. So here is the artwork. It is basically biblical clippy, courtesy of a fellow .NET enthusiast and engineer. I'm going to just use my scissors to trim it down. Now, given the fact that it is technically considered a full wrap, I'm not gonna care too much about a straight edge here. I'm not really good at this. I'm probably the last person that you should talk to about how to do this. I'm just gonna trim down either side. And yes, I did touch that. So what I'll do is I'm gonna go back over it real quick, but I'm gonna just remove from either side roughly the same amount. And what I did with the artwork was I tried to make it blend on either extremity so that if it does overlap, maybe it'll still kind of like blend enough that there won't be a seam. But yeah, all right, let me grab this and redo that, because yeah, I did literally just grab it with my hands. Thankfully, it dries fairly quickly. So I'm going to use heat tape for this. You need to use heat tape, not masking tape, not painter's tape. I will see people use painter's tape in videos. I think those individuals aren't using a heat press like this. They're using an oven, and that is another viable way of doing things. It's just a little less consistent. I'm going to not touch the cup this time, and I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to bring up one of the edges like this. And instead of just gently rolling it, I'm actually gonna keep pressing on this edge and pull as tightly as I can without ripping the paper, and smooth it out. And then slap a piece of tape on here, starting on the overlapped edge and smoothing it over to the underside. I'm gonna do the same thing all the way across, just kind of pulling and taping, because you don't want any bubbles. If you get any bubbles, then it's not going to look right, especially with the tumblers, because I actually press these 3 times. So every time you rotate it, you have the risk of shifting that sublimation paper, and it'll smudge your design. It's one of those things where I say, ask me how I know. I ruined a coffee mug just trying to figure that out. But that is one of the reasons why I do a lot of testing before I do any videos, so I look smart. Okay, so I've got that somewhat taped up, but I do like to go back over that whole seam, and go all the way down with the tape. Now, one other thing you can do if you care enough is you can tape the upper and bottom edges by wrapping them around, like around. Now, I don't really care about it with this design because I think the gradient makes sense. However, if you want to go full wrap, edge to edge, top, bottom, all the way around, you're gonna wanna wrap these around to avoid what's called ghosting. So what'll happen is these edges here are beveled, and so the paper isn't fully pressed against it unless you will tape it around. So you gotta like wrap this around and tape it, and it gets a little excessive, I admit, but if that's what you want, then you can do that. For me, I don't really care with this design, so I'm gonna just tuck the raw ends of the tape in there. And then what you want to do is take some butcher's paper. You can also use copy paper if you don't have like a roll of butcher's paper like this around, or even a Teflon sheet. The point is you just need to wrap this so that the ink doesn't pull through and stain your heat press. So we're going to take a chunk of this, I'll use this to kind of eyeball a measurement real quick. I don't want to waste paper. It already feels so wasteful, but it's necessary. Okay, and roll like that. I want to roll all the way around with this one because, again, I'm going to be rotating it. So I need to make sure that everything is nice and protected, but also doesn't run the risk of kind of rolling up, bunching up, and unevenly distributing the heat. Don't ever ask me to wrap your presents because obviously I'm not very good at the cutting. Also, yes, these are not fabric scissors. They're crafting scissors that I love. Now this one, you don't have to tape this on religiously. Just make sure you pull it tightly again and tape in a couple of spots just to keep it in one place. Awesome. So now that I've got it wrapped up and all pretty, ish, I'm gonna put on my heat gloves. These actually came with the machine, so if you order one of these, don't make the mistake of buying extra heat gloves. It does come with them, and it also comes with a little thing of tape. So you don't really have to worry about buying all those extras. You just need to worry about the machine and, of course, any blanks that you might want. And here's why you want to put on the heat gloves. This interior is sitting at 335 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? And you don't want to touch any of that or risk any harm coming to you. So you're just going to gently slide the tumbler inside and push it. Make it centered. You know, I've got the papers a bit of an overlap, and I start with the seam side up. I'm going to press it the first time 60 seconds. And that's how easy it is. You don't even have to touch it or anything. You just kind of step away. When it finishes, it just automatically opens. It's so cool. It also beeps. We're not going to take it out though. I have found through testing the 60 seconds is not enough. And I guess maybe if you wanted to, you could actually press this for longer. But because it's a wraparound design, I want to just go ahead and rotate it 180 so that the seam is now facing down. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to close it up again. Hands out of the way. There we go. It's going to go for 60 seconds. And the thing about the pressure plate is it's just like when you're using the auto heat press for fabrics or sublimation for shirts or other garments. It's going to detect where the object is and only apply minimal pressure so that the heat is on the surface. So you don't have to worry about it scrunching and potentially wrecking something or breaking anything. So when I show you the mug, you'll see how that works. But I also did a glass tumbler, and it actually didn't look half bad. Awesome. Okay, so it's done. I brought over the tumbler so I can show you. So I'm going to rotate it again. Seam side up, just like that. And it looks like I didn't tape it down the butcher's paper anyway perfectly. So hands out, and presso. Okay, and this is the last round. But while that's doing its thing, this is the glass that I made. This is the glass tumbler, and I really like it. Now, I started out with a design that had a lot lighter colors. It didn't really come through at all. Actually, I would be shocked if you can even see it on camera, but I darkened all of the colors and redid it, and it looks awesome. They also sell these in a frosted version, so I think I might grab a few of those and try. They come with a little bamboo lid and a straw and everything. It's really cute. Okay, there we go. It's gonna pop out. Now I'm just gonna take one of my hands and butt on it a little bit and grab it. Looks like the butcher's paper came right off, and that's fine. So this is really hot to the touch. So what I like to do is put a little bit of like a heating pad off to the side and just set it down so that it can cool off. You don't want to rip all the tape and the paper off while it's still warm. So while that's cooling off, let's look at doing a ceramic mug. So the same deal with the mug. You're gonna take a little bit of an alcohol wipe. You can put this on toilet paper for all I care. I just buy these Curette alcohol wipes because they're easy and disposable, and the stuff that they're put on isn't gonna leave a lot of like little dust bunnies all over the work. So just gonna wipe that down, and then I can get the artwork and cut it and prep it. So here's my artwork, but I'm gonna go ahead and set up the machine so it can crank up that heat. So we're gonna do this at 390, but then we're gonna only press it one time for 240 seconds. So the reason that, of course, that you're doing that is you're not gonna be able to rotate this thing. It's got a handle. So the handle, of course, stops you from being able to rotate it as you would think you could do for like the tumblers and all, and anything that doesn't have a handle. So you got to press it for a little longer. So we're going to let that heat up, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out this fabulously unhinged artwork that I've created. And I know that I have wasted a bit of paper here. You can actually, like, this is a one-off for my dad, but you can basically reduce the waste of paper by printing several of these at a time, or even just several designs that you need to do at once. So I probably should have planned that a little better so I didn't waste all this glorious sublimation paper, but it, you know, it's fine, right? It's fine. Hack the planet and all that. I'm gonna actually trim it down so that it's somewhat even in width on either side of the design, only so I line it up correctly. Now, my dad's right-handed, so he will drink like this, and I want the design facing out. So I'm gonna do like that. And I'm just gonna take the design, let's see. Place it hither. Sometimes it's really hard to do this while filming it for you guys in your view, but I think if we do like that, it'll be all right. I do think I need to trim it down a little more because the design is so tall, and I want to make sure, oh, look, it got to the right temp. I want to make sure that I can tape it down on all sides so that the tail doesn't, the tail of the fried cat doesn't ghost at the end, and the top of the H on Hallelujah also doesn't ghost as it gets to the top and may have less pressure on it. So I want to tape this all the way around. So we're going to put that back on. See, that'll be a little better. And you can see through the paper just enough to allow you to make sure it's straight. Now I'm going to press like this, and I'm just going to get some little pieces in place. And then press and pull toward the handle. And don't press too hard because, yeah, if you're too rough with it, you will snap all of this. And then from the center out to the corner, now I'm going to start placing vertically. So you see how I'm just kind of pressing and wiping, because it's really easy on these round surfaces to mess up and basically end up with bubbles as you start to tape around. So I tend to kind of smooth outward. I take the machine embroidery of hats approach to things, which is center out and bottom up. See? Looking nice. And of course, you know, I'm showing you all of these steps, even though it's not really a tutorial video, because I want you to see how easy it was for me to learn this. I've had this machine less than a week. So, you know, grain of salt and all that. Okay, now I'm going to go all the way across the top. I'm feeling okay about confidence levels as far as bubbles go, but I'm still going to start from the center and slide it that way, center, and then that way, and do the same thing over here. More is less, I guess, on the tape side of things. So center out, center out. Yeah. All right. So now we have that. Got to do the same thing with the butcher paper, but you're not going to wrap it all the way around. We're just going to loosely have it sit as a pocket for this. So I'm going to take all of that paper that was left at the tail end here. I can toss that in the trash. Let's just make sure it's going to be a nice little pocket for me. There we go. Yeah, because the paper isn't all the way around, so I don't need to get excessive with it. So there's that butcher's paper. Again, I will leave you links for all the supplies in the description of the video. Okay, now this is all set up. I'm going to go ahead and put on my heat gloves. You don't want to mess that up, trust me. I mean, I'm pretty good about it, but sometimes if I'm recording or, you know, the kids are in here, I get distracted. So, okay, now we'll take this and trying to, like, holding the handle, but having this loose, that's fine. I'm going to put just a little bit of tape on there. I just don't want to risk that I touch this and get in there, even with the gloves. I just don't want to. So I just hold onto the handle and get everything inside like that. And I'm gonna just go ahead, it's gonna press this way, so it'll roll it this way. So to avoid any shifting of the paper, not just the butcher's paper, but of course the sublimation paper, I'm going to just hold this up at the top and press go. Just like that, just until it gets in there. And it detects that the handle is there. So you don't need to worry about anything, and it's just gonna go, and that's a long amount of time, so I'm just gonna let it happen and come back when it's done. Okay, here we go. It's gonna open up anytime now. Yay, Christmas! Okay, just reach in there and do the reverse of how you put it in. Don't worry about that butcher's paper being burned, that's totally normal. I'm just gonna pull that off now, and we're gonna let that sit over here. What I will say is the ceramic is very warm. It's gonna stay very warm. So you wanna set that off to the side. It takes about 15 minutes for that to cool down. So while the ceramic mug is cooling down, let's unwrap this absolutely unhinged tumbler that I made with a biblical clippy. Okay, now it's cooled off, so I don't need to have my gloves on. And because it's cooled down, I can also pretty much just rip the paper off. If you go at it right after it's come out of the machine, it's not, yeah, it kind of sticks to it. It's a little weird. So I actually just rip it. I don't want to like slide it just in case. I do have a little bit of a seam, but I could have changed that if I had done something a little better with the artwork and maybe also taped it at the top. Right, you know, wrapped it around. It probably wouldn't have ghosted right there, but otherwise that's actually pretty darn cool. Look at all those vibrant colors. Holy butts. Like, no, really, look at that. That is just, I don't even know what. That's gorgeous. Holy cow. And that's one of the things that really kind of just shocked me about sublimation at home is I didn't know that you could get such vibrant, high detailed results. I literally thought it was like that old stuff that you get in the 80s with like the cats with yarn and the cute puppies, and you like cut out the fabric and then iron it onto a sweatshirt, and you're like, thanks grandma, that was awesome. Please tell me somebody watching remembers what those things were, because I don't want to feel that old today. It's been a super long 15 minutes, so let's unwrap the ceramic mug now. Just gonna take my fingernails and scrape away at that tape. I'm so glad I trimmed my nails before I did all this. Okay, and this side too. Oh my gosh. Why am I so thorough? Just kind of ripped it right there. Oh my god. I don't even know why I'm talking to myself. Guys. Okay, there. Oh, there. Got it. Just gonna start ripping. Oh, yeah. This is gonna make my dad super happy. This is one of our favorite films. Yeah! Look at that. That is so good. Look at it, look at it, look at it. I mean, I would have gone with like maybe a darker green color, but that's me. Like, this isn't faded. It's perfectly sublimated. I love it. That's awesome. I can't wait to give this to him. So there you have it. That was a really simple demonstration of how you can use the HTVRONT Auto Tumbler Heat Press to make tumblers and mugs with handles. That's pretty cool. All in all, I'm super happy with it. As someone who knows nothing about sublimation, I had a lot of fun testing this past week. If you want more information on how you can get one of these, I've put that down in the description below the video. Please feel free to leave any comments or questions about the product or your sublimation techniques so that I can learn a bit more from my community. And please subscribe to the channel so I can continue my takeover of YouTube crafting.